Hey everyone, thanks for joining. So today we're diving into the business planning session that we are doing for any local or any person who's looking to start a business, looking to grow your business. We also are going to be starting a networking group just because we've done this kind of webinar and in-person class before. And the feedback we got was a lot of people wanted a networking group. So we're going to be doing it online. We're going to be doing it in person as well. It's totally free as of right now. We've done it a few times where it was free and no one came. We did a couple times where we charged $5 and everyone showed up. So maybe we'll do it as $5 and just kick it back to everyone somehow. If you attend, it's like a security deposit. But yeah, we wanted to get into this because at Purpose Home Lending we have a couple tools and resources that we offer people. But one of our products is the PHL commercial side, which is just a service for businesses where, you know, we've been that struggling, growing business that is really trying to keep the budget tight, right? Because I, as a business owner, I went from, hey, it was just me as a sole proprietor. I did all the sales, representing people as a real estate agent and then representing people in the mortgage process and earning commissions off of that. And then I started to add real estate agents and I started to add loan officers to my company. And it got to a point where I was making so much less money because I was having to spend so much time supporting everyone because that's what they needed and what they needed, not just what they wanted. Um, that I found myself all over the place. And so not that I know everything, but there are some tools and resources that I personally have found that works really well to help me in my business and some things that have really helped me. I had been approached by a ton of different I shouldn't say I had been approached by the networking groups, but people who were business owners that joined these networking groups where they spent a lot of money to be a part of this networking group. And the advice they were giving, and they would tell me, hey, you don't take your business seriously if you're not a part of one of these networking groups. And I thought, oh, that's kind of offensive. Not like I'm someone that's offended, but damn, okay. And they tell me the advice I'd get, and I think, oh, that's stupid. I don't know. How is that helpful? Just so many things, but those people are no longer running their business today. So, I'm just wanting to encourage anyone watching this or, on our webinar, looking to join our networking group or looking for different products or services that you think could really help your business. Understand that these are things that we have found, and there's little nuances with them, but things that will help you win your time back, stay more focused, without having to spend crazy amounts of money like some other platforms require. So, and there are things that we're going to be diving into with this business planning session. Um, One of the things I really like to tell people is one, this is through Google Meets. And so at some point, I will have to switch screens because it'll tell me, it'll ask if I'm still on the call or not. But this is great for anyone who's looking to start a business, who has never or is currently running a business, anyone who wants help, anything like that. So this is a pretty general conversation, but there's a lot of important details that we like to give everyone. The first is there have been some people who are very successful business owners that I think I just got a good opportunity when after they sold their business or after certain things happened, I got a chance to direct message them right when they were really starting their Instagram. And I just brought up, a simple point and then a question. And I happened to get on calls with them. Some of these people are big YouTubers now, have sold their companies for millions and millions of dollars. Best piece of advice I got, and something you want to consider if you're starting a business or if you're currently operating a business, is, what is your end goal? And what a lot of these people recommended to me is build your business as if you're going to sell it, because you'll always build it better and you'll build it more efficiently. What tends to happen is people will just build their business because they want to be a business owner, they want to do whatever. And when it comes time to sell, they're being told that their business is not worth what they think it's worth and that they need to do ABC, XYZ in order to make the business more efficient. usually is what it is, and sellable. So then they do that and they realize, oh crap, actually now I do really enjoy my business where I was selling it because I'm just tired. I'm tired of it and I'm ready to move on. And so then they like their business again because they've improved it. So just keep in mind that when you're building a business, you want to build it as if you're going to sell it. But that's just to kickstart it. Now, with that being said, a lot of times when people go to start a business, they say, well, I'm good at this, so why don't I start a business? Or, hey, I really want to have control of my schedule and I want to have work life balance where I can work when I want to work. So that's why I want to start a business. I'd probably say you're going to lose hope and drive very quickly if that's the only reason why, because you're going to realize for a while in a good period of time, your business is dependent on your customers and your clients because you need to pay the bills. And so, although you think you work for yourself, you work for your clients and customers. Um, Whereas if you have a goal in mind where you say, this is how I want my business to eventually look because this achieves my lifestyle that I want, which is something I think everyone should write out before starting the business. And I think it should be a 10-year goal. Just because there's a lot of, putting a timeline behind it. And I think 10 years is very realistic. You can hit that lifestyle. So pick that lifestyle that you want. I would spend a lot of time dream building because no matter what the business is, it's going to freaking suck a lot of times. And the only thing that's going to keep you really going is imagining that lifestyle. That's your 10-year goal. I do think then you should backtrack a little bit and say, okay, what would my business need to look like by year 5 so that I'm on my path to achieve that 10-year goal? That's for people who say, I want to own a junk removal company because I know so many people who want junk removed and I think I could make a lot of money with it. I could control my time and schedule. Well, and then you're going to have people cancel last minute, or you're going to show up to a house and no one's going to be there, and the person's going to say, "Oh, I totally forgot about our appointment." Now you don't get anything, and you got to drive to the next appointment, right? And you're going to start to get frustrated. And you're going to start to get burnt out. But when you're building a business as if you're going to sell it, you're going to start thinking to yourself, what do I need to do and implement in order to avoid these things? Because how that's correct. If I'm constantly driving to appointments where people aren't showing up, why? Why didn't they attend? Did I send any reminders? Did I need to send multiple reminders? And that might be what needs to happen. But when you're thinking about, okay, I want a business that's going to be sellable, you need to know, okay, I need to have this person. If I'm going to hire someone to go to those appointments and I'm paying them per hour and that person doesn't show up, now I'm losing extra money because there goes the income, plus I'm paying them to drive out there to remove the junk. So how do I avoid that? How do I build that into my pricing? Because there's going to be times people miss appointments. Um, but that's where when you're going to look to start a business, or if you're looking to restart your business, I would spend a lot of time and effort, you know, putting this into action and into your plan. What is my 10-year goal? What does my business need to look like by year 5? And what do I need to achieve to get my business there? It's at least going to be the filter with which you make decisions. So as you go and you're building your business, you're going to think, well, this is my lifestyle I wanted. How do I hit that? So for example, me and my mortgage company, it got to a point where we had like 15, 16 loan officers and no one was closing anything. I'm paying for a ton of tools and resources for everyone just to find out no one's really using it. No one's really doing anything. And then I'm spending a lot of time creating training, helping, but I'm also not focusing on my own production. So my income's going down and I've got crazy bills. So then I went back to saying, okay, well, I got to pay these bills. So I better source more deals. Had a couple good months. And I said, I'm just going to focus on my own business. And then you go through this spiral constantly of getting frustrated and doing things yourself. And then you need to have that 10-year goal in mind of the ultimate lifestyle you want to live. You need to have that 5-year goal. I mean, year 8, whatever, but year 5 is, okay, what would my business need to look like so that I'm on that trajectory? That's when I realized, okay, well, I have enough loan officers that are producing where they're calling me for higher level questions, but all the base level questions or little things that they need help with, they are they're going to maybe a support staff member. So maybe I need to implement that, or there's a training library that they can go to, or there's a vendor that we work with where they can call that company versus calling me constantly. Um, by year 5, we've got a huge library of training built out. We've got the go-to strategy for what they need to do every single day, but also when we have a new hire, what's going to happen? Like, how do we teach them to stay focused without, and if they don't put in the effort, how do we avoid losing a ton of money on them? So then I looked at, okay, what tools do I give them where if they do nothing, because they were an outside sales representative, if they do nothing for 2 months, what's going to be my lost income with that? Where it was $400 to $500. Instead, we switched it to about 20. Or I think if they did nothing for 2 months and we had to just cut them, I think we lose like $32. That was okay with me and fine with me. And so that's what you have to look like. That will help you structure somewhat your 1 to 3 year goals of what you want to accomplish, what you want to implement. And that has to do with you too, and becoming the person you need to be, because trust me, this is a freaking growth journey. But the 5 year business goal, okay, define clear milestones is important. Is it all about the money? No, but money handles a lot of your problems. So when it comes to your 10 year goal, I like people to think less about the business, more about your lifestyle. Um, the 5 year and rest of your goal, it helps you achieve that. Because although people say, a lot of times when people say, well, I want to be a business owner, what they explain to me is more of a lifestyle. Okay, I put in efforts and I reap the results. I have control over my time. This sounds like a lifestyle. So have your business get that. Because if you're saying, well, I want control of my time, you're not going to have that for the first 3 years. You're going to be on the beck and call of any clients, customers, whatever you need in order to make it happen. And you're going to get frustrated and think, this isn't what I signed up for. Unless if you think in 5 years, my business is going to be established enough that I'm starting to get to that point by year 10 that I 100% have control over my time. Like everyone is doing everything. Maybe I'm on a few phone calls and meetings, but I'm the higher level thinker and I can do whatever I want. Or I sold my company by then and now I'm living the life I want to live, whatever it might be. A lot of it has to do, and you need to put a dollar sign behind it. The things that you want to achieve by year 10 needs to have a dollar sign. So you need to be thinking about what kind of revenue and income do I need to be on the path to make or starting to make by year 5. So if you said, hey, by year 10, I want to have $10 million invested in, whatever, between stocks, apartment complexes, anything like that. Okay, well, by year 5, I need to be making, see, I knew he was going to ask me. We have people on Zoom and his presentations on Google Meets because Zoom's recording sucks, which we like Google Workspace more. But right, that's what you have to aim for. Okay, you got to identify over the next 1 to 3 years, and by year 5, your business should be pretty self-sufficient and you have pretty much everything in place. So that's why by year 1 and 3, you're figuring out, okay, I just showed up for an appointment with a potential customer because I have a cleaning company and they weren't there. So what happened? How do I prevent that? If they just say that they totally like, instead of getting frustrated with them, I'm going to ask them, hey, I totally get if you forgot, but do you mind me asking? Because I'd love to avoid this next time for future clients too. And if it helps improve my business, I'd really appreciate that. People are going to be honest with you and they're going to say, oh, I totally forgot. I thought I was going to leave you a key. I didn't leave a key. Okay, maybe I'm going to have a contact form and I'm going to send a reminder to say, don't forget you said you'd leave a key, or whatever it might be. Maybe I'll meet with them ahead of time when I go to give the quote and I'll say, hey, do you have an extra key? Are you okay with me having a key? Whatever it might be. I'm not recommending that you ask your clients to give you a key. I'm just throwing that out there. But that's what you have to think about. And you're not going to know the answer to what your systems and processes look like, but that's what the 1 to 3 year journey is going to be about. That way too, when you have those moments of absolute frustration, like as a loan officer, there were times where I would take loans to the certain lender and then I had a client whose situation was not straightforward and they were shopping around, but they met like their life was crazy. And I just thought, you've got your life is shit. This sucks. Like I don't know how I'm gonna make this work. And they're shopping around. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I can go to this other lender because they're a little bit better and I can beat the quote you just got. But it turned it out to be a total nightmare. So I taught myself a good script and dialogue that, hey, your credit score sucks. Your income is all over the place. This is going to take a lot of work and you're trying to shop around for a better rate. I think you need to pick someone who can actually make it happen because I think a lot of these people are over promising you and they're not going to deliver when the time comes to it. Do you want this house no matter what? Like this is the house you want because the answer would have been yes from that client. And I would have said, then you need to pay a little extra, just a little bit, with a company that I can guarantee is going to get the loan done. Instead, I wasted 2 months working with this B rate, C rate, D rate lender. I can't even believe we got it done, but I think I lost $150 because we had to switch loan programs so many times where I had to change my compensation. Never would have happened with this other lender. And if they would have said no, I'm still going to go with this cheaper option, I would have said thank God because I wouldn't have lost $150 um, and so many other things. But that taught me a lot, and that's what I had to look at it in the light. I had to look at it. Okay, this just taught me something, so this has now prepared me to be better by year 5. But what am I going to change and implement versus just getting frustrated? Um, and then plan your compound efforts. So um, what can I do that has compounding efforts? So if I am going and I am doing a sales call and this is day 1, I'm starting my business. Every sales call, every client, customer you potentially talk to, or every video you post, it should be, how could I do this more efficiently? How could I teach someone else to do this so it's not just about me? Um, what how did the sales call go? What did I say? What did they say? What was their interaction? And I'm going to be super analytical of everything I do. That way I could teach other people to do it just the way I did it, or I can improve the sales script, the approach, the tonality, whatever it might be. But by year 5, that's your goal, is to have that stuff figured out. Because in 1 to 3 years, this is your learning and growth time. It sucks. But this is also why I think it is valuable to be a part of a networking group of other business owners, because you'd be really shocked how many people struggle with this. As funny as this sounds, um, on Instagram at one point early on in my business, I saw a post of someone that said, I gave up my $4,000 job to make $40, my $4,000 a month job to make $40 a month being a business owner. And it was like, it's so sad, but at the same time, you start to realize, holy crap, everyone is going through this. Everyone is dealing with this kind of stuff. And so it's good to surround yourself by those people. Plus, some people have recommendations. I talk to loan officers in other areas, and I kind of get a feel for what they do. And sometimes it's as simple as just keep doing it. Just keep doing what you're doing, and don't stop. And like the compound effect of your efforts really picks up. And there was no magical thing. I have it happen all the time where people have been in my industry for a long time. Well, what do you do to get business? What do you do to get business? And it's like, you just keep doing something. If something works, find a way to do it more and more and more and more and more, and do it more efficiently. And that's really the best advice anyone who does tons of loans per month has ever given me. So there's no magic button. But that's part of being in a networking group, which, if you're watching this recording, we have a contact form either at the bottom of the page or somewhere on the page where you can send us a message that you'd like to join the networking group, either virtually, or if you're in the Sacramento area of California, we have it in person. We're working on having it in person in a few other areas, like in Austin, Dallas, Texas, some areas in Florida, just because we're also licensed there, Colorado, and Michigan. But as of right now, we just don't have. They're just online. But yeah, send us a contact form or fill out the contact form and send us a request. A big part of your business as you go is you need to and even before you even start, is identifying your obstacles. I know so many people who start businesses and they don't realize what issues they have in their life and what problems they're going to have. Now, I like to look at it as an obstacle because they're things you're going to have to overcome. Are you a mom of 5 kids and your husband works 10-hour days, 10 to 12-hour days? And so he may not be there to really help. And you've got 5 or 6 kids. I'm thinking of someone specifically. Actually, I know a couple people like this. Your obstacles are going to be tremendous, but you got to sit there and write them all out. What times do you have available to actually work in your business? What times do you not because you have other commitments? What can you do to overcome that? Okay, well, I have my kids 5 days a week. How the heck am I supposed, or all 7 days of the week, how am I going to have any time in my business? Let me maybe have times where they have nap time and I can do something, or they have they go and they go to school, and so that's my focused hour, not my, oh, I go grocery shopping. I'm going to switch my life up and go grocery shopping with my kids. It might be more hectic, but it's in the afternoon when I'm mentally drained, and I'd rather my morning be more productive. So I don't want to talk too much about this, but it's important to write out every single obstacle that you possibly have in your life so you can overcome it. Alternatively, what ends up happening is you're like this truck I saw recently. Guys driving down the freeway, everyone's going around. I'm like, what is up with traffic? And I see smoke come up. There is a monster truck pulling this giant camper. I mean, the thing's freaking huge. And one of the tires had blown out, and there's just sparks flying everywhere, smoke, and everyone's just passing it. And I drive up and I roll down my window and I'm pointing, and the guy all of a sudden realizes, you could see it all over his face. He like had no clue. His truck was so strong, it was just pulling it right through that. And I think that's how most people live their life. They have no, I tell people, why do you pull over to change a flat tire? Because I have a flat tire. Well, because you realized it. And part of the problem is people are going through life not realizing what their obstacles are, and they just never overcome it. They're just trying to power through it. And I think life would just be so much easier. Man, I wish I had that guy's here, to just power through that. All right, so analyze your business idea. For those of you who are new, or you've started a business, listen, it doesn't have to be something amazing. If it is something amazing, great, but just really analyze it. Is it something that you're just passionate about? Because you're going to lose your passion quickly. I like spearfishing. I like snorkeling and scuba diving. Would I go and start a business in Hawaii, spearfishing, snorkeling, and scuba diving? I don't think so. Because I think at the end of the day, I'm going to have bills I'm going to have to pay. And I think that would be I think that would just be fun to do on my own. It would be a lot less fun if people were dumb and they were almost shooting me with a spear, and they were getting hurt, or they were tired after 20 minutes of us doing it, or they sucked at scuba diving and I'm really good at it. I'm a master scuba diver, and yeah, that would suck. But it's easy to fall victim of, this is my passion, so I'm going to do it. Now, I think that there are times that you could do that, and you'd say, I wouldn't mind because I can charge this, whatever it might be, and that's great. But I would just be very honest with myself. Am I making my passion my business, and I'm going to lose my passion in it? Because you've got to make income with a business. It's a whole point. Unless if you're successfully retired and you just want some side income, then I think maybe that's great. Maybe that exactly hits your goals that you're trying to overcome, or you're trying to achieve. I just want to do this, but I want to get paid to do it. But I don't necessarily have to get paid to do it. Perfect. Then this might be the opportunity for you, I guess, till you get that lawsuit. And validate your concept. You can look at, like, for instance, our company has recently announced, and we're about to launch it's called a personal finance management system, where anyone can go on, link all their bank accounts, track all their spending. It'll tell them if what subscriptions they have, if they're shopping at certain brands, what brands are offering discounts that they may not be aware of. It does a lot. And then it has things that they can sign up for credit monitoring, identity protection, privacy protection, score navigators, to all kinds of things. But when I've talked to big major companies who have developed these, they call them PFMs, personal finance management systems, they're like, well, there's so many of them out there. How is yours going to be different? And I said, well, it's so funny you say there's so many out there. You know, in all my time doing loans, I've never had anyone sign up for something like this. And the amount of times I've had people say, like, there's so many credit ways to check your credit and monitor your credit and get insights on your credit. Yet, all the time, I'm having people say, "Oh, how do I check my credit again?" Or I'm not really sure. How do I get my credit score up? Like they don't know. And so, to be honest, I think it's just people suck at executing and getting people to sign up for this kind of stuff, or their message sucks, or their pricing is crazy. And so, yeah, they have 10,000 users, but really they have 10,000 suckers who spent way too much on this product, and I'm just going to have it like my outcome is different than them. Their business is trying to get people to sign up. Mine is, and spend a lot of money. Mine is not. It's going to be free because we get the data behind it, and that's what we're looking for. So there are ways to validate your concept. There are a lot of cleaning companies in our area of Sacramento, but you know what? I still think it's something that people need and want all the time. There was a point, and I'm going to get to this in a sec, in my business where I had no income, and I thought, oh shit, I got to go make some money in the next couple of weeks. And so I signed up for, I think it's like TaskRabbit or something, where I said, I'll just go clean people's houses. Holy crap. I mean, I don't I can deep I live by myself. I can deep clean anything. I mean, it's not that hard. I was in the military. We know how to clean things, I guess. But my thing was the amount of people who I just in like 2 weeks, I think I had like 3 or 4 cleanings in a day. And I know tons of people who have cleaning companies. And so it's very shocking to me that I got that kind of work. Now that was a distraction. I never should have done that, and there was many other reasons why. But um, just know that just because there are other companies in competition does not mean that it may not be a valid business. You just might have to have a different approach. Um, there is a shit ton of real estate agents in California. I think 1 in 9 realtors reside in California in the nation. 1 in 9 realtors in the nation live in California. Yet there are still a crazy amount of people who have no idea what the process looks like to buy a house. So just want to throw that out there. And, you know, it just depends on your approach. Okay, so tools and support. What I would do if I were you is when you go through your business, I would constantly ask yourself, how do I use technology better? Could I use AI more in my business? And that's as simple as just asking ChatGPT or Gemini. I like the Google Workspace, which we get a good discount for anyone looking to sign up. And if you're watching this on our website, I think we have a link under this video. But Gemini, what's nice is I ask it constantly. I tell it all about my business. So when I have another idea and I ask it, I'll ask, I'd like your opinion. Is this a valid idea or a distraction from me? And it'll recommend, don't do this, this, and this, because it'll become a distraction, but do this, this, and this instead. So I let it be my consult a little bit, right? It's not 100% accurate all the time, but you want to look at, hey, how do I have technology and resources streamline this process of my business? I think it's going to really help even a cleaning company, what's junk removal, dog pooping, dog poop cleaning up business. Like ask it, how could technology help me better? And it's going to really help your business. Creating a realistic budget is very important. There are certain businesses that I think you really have to think about this. It's going to help you price better from the start versus constantly having to increase your prices, because that can be a huge mistake businesses will make. Your good customers would have paid more from the beginning, but hearing constantly that you're increasing prices sucks, and they'll leave you. But the reason why people do it is because they didn't budget accordingly. Certain businesses, you may want to get more advice from other companies so that you understand, if I want to start a restaurant in California, certain things take time. And so like you're going to have to pay for space, and then know that you cannot open for several months while you're paying for rent at a space. Do you have the budget to do that? No? Then okay, you may want to buy something already existing and look at transferring to a different location or whatever it might be. So, and then you want a way to monitor all of your expenses. Trust me, you're going to get pitched constantly on different tools and resources to spend money on. And you're going to want to find ways to track, okay, how much money am I spending on all this stuff in a simple path? Once again, why we're creating the personal finance management, it's great for business owners too. You can link all your business accounts and just see where is all my money going. For a while, we were spending a lot of money on different marketing, and I found a better tool. Like social media, we didn't need to create this amazing content. We just needed to have content so people had things to share with their consumers. So what happened was on our mortgage side, a lot of our realtors wanted content that they could share. Um, and so we needed to make content that was shareable for them. But instead, we were trying to make content to draw in potential buyers and people needing to refinance, and it just wasn't happening. But we were getting much more of a return on investment by creating content that was shareable with realtors. It was really easy to do. And so we found a platform that was just, I put in like 20 different prompts and it just creates the content for me. I had someone that she would spend hours each month. At, basically, the cost for her to create all that content was a lot more than what this just, I think like 20, 30 bucks a month, this AI system does it, which we'll have links for that for anyone looking to do that. But that's what I would really be honest with yourself about your budget, and you know understand that it may cost more if you're looking to start than you're originally thinking. Knowing your budget also gets you to spend less on stupid crap. And I'm saying that because I spent money on car magnets. Stupid. Um, I wasted money on stupid things. Okay, time management and schedule. Um, Whatever you can do to be in charge of your calendar. That's why I like Google Workspaces. Man, it gets to a point in your life where you kind of have to live by your calendar. Initially, you're not going to always feel that way. Identify problems and where products can help solve those problems. You're going to have to constantly adjust, and you're going to constantly have to review how things are going. From conversations with people to where clients are coming from to how do I get repeat customers to what am I doing? Is it really that important or is it not important? What am I spending money on? Is it that important or is there a cheaper tool? If you're ever looking at tools and technology, I'd almost say always try to always, maybe not always shop for another option, but if it's a pretty high ticket type of a product, go get other opinions. I was about to spend 2 grand a month on this credit monitoring through this credit monitoring company. I didn't really like their user interface, and I almost signed the contract with them, and I started looking at other options, and they ended up being like a quarter of the price and even looking better. And I just thought, "Whoa, man, I can't believe I almost pulled the trigger with that company." Um, and then resources, for continued growth. You are your business, you are a business owner and you're an entrepreneur, and you need to invest time into you. Doesn't mean you need to have meditation time and reading tons and tons of books, but sometimes it might. I think joining a networking group, our newsletter, we're trying not to make it crazy, but there are some cool things that we're finding technology wise, resource wise, laws that are coming into place. Because trust me, new laws that come out, there are companies that try to nickel and dime you. Like to start a business, you don't need to go to Zen Business or LegalZoom and spend $300 to $400 or whatever it is to start your business. You can spend 50 bucks in any state. It's like 20 to 50 bucks through the Secretary of State, the business website. Like California is super easy. I could show anyone how to do it. Easy, free. There's something called a statement of information uh, um, to state like, hey, I own this LLC. Companies charge you like $100 to $200 to do it. It's freaking. I think it's. Oh gosh, I wonder if it's $5, $30. I think it's $30 with the state, and it goes directly to the state. It's so easy to do, and so that's what our newsletter is there to help. Um, I don't know why AI made this presentation. We don't really have a learning portal, but You can set up your own learning portal. You can take classes, whatever it might be. Peer support is huge, though. Um, just getting little insights. And if you find yourself someone who gets frustrated easily and you're trying to build your mental state, having a peer support group can really help with that. So I appreciate you all watching. Sorry, this went a lot longer than I was originally planning, but hopefully this was helpful. And if you'd like to learn more, please scroll down. If you're on YouTube, you can go to phlcommercial.com and you can learn more about us there and sign up with our contact form to join our networking group or sign up for our newsletter. So hopefully this is helpful, and I look forward to talking to some of you soon.